Onto this now. The EFF in the Northern Cape marched to the offices of the province's premier demanding a review of the existence of Orania. The party says settlements such as Orania have no place in a democratic South Africa. This comes a day after the MK party officials visited another whites-only settlement called Kleinfontein in what they described as a fact-checking mission. Well, the engagement was centered around Section 25 of the Constitution, which guarantees the right to self-determination for people with common cultural and language heritage. I think it's 235. But for more on the EFF march, we are joined by Shadrack Tlhaole, who is the EFF Northern Cape chairperson. Mr. Tlhaole, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Interesting the timing of this, but let's talk about why. And certainly why you marched to the office of the Premier and not to Orania.
No, thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. As the economic freedom fighters, we did indeed march to the office of the Premier instead of Orania. We don't have any reason to march to Orania because they don't have powers to decide on anything. The powers are vested in the government of the day, led by the Northern Cape provincial government under the stewardship of the Premier Zamanisol. So we took our matter to the Premier's office, believing that it has more content and information of activities that happened in the past within that office he's holding. Therefore, taking our memorandum to his office was just to clarify ourselves and our stance that we know that what we are doing is the responsibility that should have been taken through by national government and provincial government, and especially because the matter of Orania affects the people of the Northern Cape. So we had to go to the provincial office, provincial government, and raise our concern, which we did successfully today in a very peaceful march, demonstrating and demanding that Orania's stance must be reviewed in the best interest of a rainbow nation, the country that was established in 1994, believing that we wanted to get a democracy, which we are celebrating today without economy. And we believe that, and the people of Orania, especially the leaders of Freedom Front Plus, demonstrated that they don't have the best interest of this country when we submitted a motion in Parliament that Section 25 should be taken into consideration in terms of the position of the EFF, that land should be expropriated without compensation. And they clearly have demonstrated that they don't have that interest. To a point now today, our fight in Orania, or our fight against Orania, it's not only about inclusivity of our people staying there, but also the fact that most of a lucrative and rich land that is in Orania needs to be accessed and be used by all who live in the Northern Cape as society.
Okay, if you'd let me then perhaps take that further and say the matter needs to be taken to, in your view, the office of the Premier, so the provincial office, and national. What is it that you feel the Premier's office has done or lacked action in when dealing with Orania? So what would have been your preferred action?
Look, you understand that immediately after the elections in 2024, after the ANC lost its majority, they went and engaged with all political parties except the EFF in the Northern Cape. And they came to a conclusion that they will work with the Freedom Front Plus. And part of that, which the Freedom Front Plus demanded, was Orania, and also to be part of the leadership in terms of committees in the legislature, which in our understanding should not have happened. And we're happy that the Premier today confirmed that even though there were those discussions, but in terms of Orania, there were never engagement and agreement on that. So we believe that this matter, because it's not a new matter, it's a matter that has always been there, even pre-1994, that we cannot have a state within a state. Unfortunately, the leadership of Mr. Boshoff could not agree to the deal that South Africa at the point of time wanted to achieve. And that's where we find ourselves in today. So the office of the Premier has access to the presidency of this country, wherein which we think if they can raise this matter, it would be speed up and would know the outcome in a very short period of time. Unlike would say, let's go and start a new engagement. So what we have done as the economic freedom fighters, we strongly believe that we took a right decision, and that right decision we took will give us positive results. Orania is just a farm. Orania is not a town. Orania must be abolished and demolished and have a society where all of us would live freely. So that is the right office for us to go. We cannot go to people who don't appreciate black people as a result of color. So that to us is a racism we will not tolerate as the EFF.
So you've touted Section 25, which of course talks about land, right? And that's where the issue of land expropriation then takes center stage. And I raise that because just yesterday, I was in conversation with Chief Whip of the MK Party after their visit to Kleinfontein in Tshwane. And I make that comparison because where he was touting was Section 1 of the Constitution. I'm trying to run away from being too technical, but that was his response to Kleinfontein leadership touting Section 235. That'll be the last of the numbers that I throw at you. But in Section 235, it talks about the right to self-determine. And that is there in our Constitution, the right to self-determination of cultural groups. What do you say when the people of Orania give you that argument?
The very same Constitution you are referring to, it does not have a clause that says black and white people should not live together. And it's a fallacy that people would think that the EFF don't appreciate culture that maybe Afrikaners want to preserve in South Africa. They can still practice their culture where they are staying. I'm staying in Kimberley as I'm speaking to you now. My neighbor is a white person, and we are living just a good life together. They are practicing their culture and practicing my culture. So this is not about culture. It's a pretense because of they know that they continue to exclude us from active economic participation that we are fighting for as economic freedom fighters. And that will not sit back and relax. We are going to fight that. Whatever happens, land is a big issue in South Africa, and it cannot be ignored. You try to ignore it, you are inviting problems for yourself, especially the government of the day. And as the economic freedom fighters, we have raised this against all odds. It's on our lips, it's on our tables, as a discussion of the day. And it will be implemented because of it's finding now a right platform for it to be implemented. So I can tell you now, once you segregate a black person from any society, to us that racism is what the people of Orania are practicing. Why would you not want to stay with black people? Is it because of we're black? Why would we want to say black people are not enough to be appreciated in their own land? That of which we are raising against Orania is not hatred against white people. We are not calling for a genocide of white people. We are saying, let's live together, let's build this economy together so that we must enjoy and celebrate the hard work of the democracy was fought for by the liberation movement in South Africa. So I can tell you, the EFF, its 9% is doing very good. We are going to raise things that are not comfortable to many people.
Okay. So in an ideal setting, what do you want to see happen with the land in Orania? And I think my final question then to you would be, Shadrack Tlhaole, as chairperson of the EFF in the Northern Cape, would you want to live in Orania?
100% yes, it's my land. I must stay wherever I want to stay in South Africa. And if it means that I must prioritize Orania, let it be so. And I'm going to lead that battalion of black people and Indians and everyone who wants to stay in Orania. In fact, that land of Orania is a land of our grandparents, and we want it. And we are so nice by saying, let's share, because we are not naive. We know that white people are in South Africa and they must be treated as equal as possible by everyone. So we expect the same from them. We are going to stay in that Orania. They must just speed up the process of understanding that indeed we as the economic freedom fighters, we have an agenda. And our agenda is clear. It's clear. is priority in South Africa, land expropriation without compensation. Not this thing of the ANC of having a land expropriation with compensation. We want a clear deal. And in the government of the EFF, led by the president of the EFF, very soon that's going to file expression. And this land will be owned by the state and governed by those who are in charge of government.
Just quickly, I need to squeeze this one in because I think it's important. I'll give you 30 seconds to answer. Yesterday, the MK party in Klein-Fontaine, you today as the EFF tackling the issue of Orania. Is this the Progressive Caucus in action?
We are running our program that is the interest of black people, and that's what we are representing. So the EFF is doing this because of the program of our organization, and it did not start yesterday. It started from the inception, the day one of the economic freedom fighters' emancipation. So it's our clear mandate of the EFF.
Mr. Tlhaole, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Shadrack Tlhaole, the provincial chairperson of the EFF in the Northern Cape.